Most of us have a pretty standard idea of hell. Fire, pitchforks, eternal punishment. But what if the real fate for truly evil souls is something, well, something much more personal, way more psychological, and honestly, infinitely more terrifying? Okay, let's get into this. And look, I'm not talking about someone who steals office supplies. I'm talking about the real monsters, the kind of souls who seem to have no conscience whatsoever. Where do they really go? The answer? Well, it might just shatter everything you thought you knew about cosmic justice. So let's just put these side by side for a second. On one hand, you've got the classic images, right? External punishment. But if you look at the research of hypnotherapist Dr. Michael Newton and the ideas of psychologist Carl Jung, the afterlife isn't about some outside force judging you. No, it's about a forced internal showdown with yourself. A self-judgment loop that honestly makes demons and fire look kind of merciful. And this right here is the absolute key. The whole system, the whole point, isn't about revenge or retribution. It's about education. It's designed to force a soul to finally face the entirety of who they are, especially the darkness, that shadow, as Jung called it, that they just refused to look at while they were alive.
Okay, so how does this confrontation actually happen? Well, it all kicks off with a process that literally turns a soul's own life into its own custom-made hell.
Now here's the kicker. This isn't like you're just watching a movie of your greatest or worst hits. No way. In the life review, the soul is forced to actually step inside the shoes of every single person it ever harmed. It's a mechanism of forced, gut-wrenching empathy.
I mean, just try to wrap your head around the sheer horror of that. You aren't just watching the pain you caused from a distance. You are feeling their heart pounding. You're thinking their last desperate thoughts. You're experiencing the full, crushing weight of their suffering as if it's happening to you. It is the ultimate, unavoidable confrontation with consequence.
And it's not a one-and-done deal. For the most seriously damaged souls, this isn't just a single event. They get trapped. They're forced to relive the agony they inflicted in a brutal, seemingly endless loop until they can finally grasp the true scale of their own evil. So what happens when that guilt, that pain, is just so massive, so completely unbearable that the soul can't handle it? Well, the system has a couple of truly grim outcomes for those who just can't make it through that review. So you've got two paths. The soul either gets stuck, just trapped forever in that feedback loop of its victim's pain, or something even wilder happens. Under all that immense psychological pressure, the soul literally shatters into pieces. Now, let's be super clear here. These aren't demons in the traditional sense. These are the broken, jagged remnants of what used to be a whole human soul. These shadow souls are just pure, unintegrated darkness, and their only impulse left is to influence and destroy the wholeness in others. And you gotta forget everything you've seen in the horror movies. This isn't about heads spinning around. It's way, way more subtle. Think of it like a slow, corrupting influence that latches onto the living, especially people who are emotionally or spiritually vulnerable, and it just erodes their moral compass from the inside out. Now, you'd think that's about as bad as it gets, right? But there's another category of evil souls, the most dangerous of all, and they find a way to dodge this fate completely. They literally learn how to cheat the system. This is where it all takes a really dark turn. I mean, what happens when a soul is so pathologically good at deception that it can actually bypass the entire karmic process? And here's how they do it. It's the ultimate manipulation, because it's not just about lying to others. It's about mastering the art of lying to yourself. They convince themselves that their evil was totally justified, that their victims had it coming, and by doing that, they manage to sidestep the crushing guilt of the life review. This is their playbook for gaming the system. They rationalize everything. They tell themselves their victims deserved it, and by holding on to this completely false self-image, they never get stuck. They just neatly sidestep the whole karmic bill, which frees them up to reincarnate and keep their destructive patterns going. And the really chilling part? It's not random. According to Dr. Newton's work, these souls often seek out specific family lines, creating these horrible cycles of abuse and trauma that get passed down from one generation to the next. It's almost like a spiritual hereditary disease. So all of this, it pulls the entire concept out of some distant afterlife and drops it right into our world. Because if these souls are walking among us,
how in the world do we protect ourselves?
That is a terrifying question, isn't it? If the most evil souls are also the absolute best seeming normal or even charming, what are the red flags? What are we supposed to look for?
So what are the signs? Well, they can flip their empathy on and off like a light switch. They wear this perfect social mask, a concept Jung called persona inflation, which is basically a flawless, artificial personality hiding a totally empty core. They're drawn to positions of power, especially over vulnerable people. And they seem to get this sick satisfaction out of corrupting innocence.
So what's the defense against all this? Well, according to Jungian psychology, it's something called individuation. It just means doing the really hard work of looking in the mirror, confronting your own capacity for darkness, and building an authentic self with a moral compass so strong it just can't be broken or corrupted.
But even with that defense, the research points to one last, really unsettling conclusion about the state of this whole unseen war.
See, the way evil wins isn't through some big, flashy, apocalyptic battle. It's a quiet, patient game. It's winning by slowly turning good people towards apathy and cruelty, one tiny choice at a time.
So this completely reframes the whole idea of hell, doesn't it? It's not some place you're sent to against your will. It's a path you choose. It's a strategy you use. And it's a war you decide to wage against goodness. A war that just keeps going, even after death.
Which, of course, leaves us with a pretty profound question. If evil isn't just a random act, but a patient, strategic choice, and if our best and only defense is our own moral integrity, what choices are you going to make? How will you act to defend not just yourself, but the light in the world?